For many years now, America has been compared to Rome, the architecture, the military power, and there's a growing number of people comparing what's happening in America today with the end of the Western Roman Empire. But that comparison is very superficial. What they fail to realize is that a more apt comparison exists further back in history. The Roman Republic was in a state of war through its entire existence, its economy based on riches it captured through its military conquests and taxation. This is the time where most of Rome's territorial gains were made. In fact, the Republic is one of the earliest examples of a representative democracy. Of course, that came with its own complications that are very familiar today. Corruption and backdoor deals enabled the Senate to be controlled by only the richest or most well-connected families. Many who lived in the Eternal City experienced much luxury and safety if they were part of this elite class of Romans. Many domestic and foreign wars and uprisings threatened the existence of Rome itself. Contemporary observers frequently stated that the Republic was facing a crisis of excess and that it would eventually fall. The senators and wealthy families who they had connections to increasingly made policy decisions that alienated the average Roman. In 91 BC, the social war of the Roman Republic was fought between Rome and surrounding communities that rebelled. Infighting and slave revolts, such as the one led by Spartacus in 73 BC, led many to look for leaders that were strong, who could enforce order. Fighting between different political and military leaders and their followers wasn't unusual, it was the norm. Eventually, one man decided to finally cross the Rubicon. Many in the Senate were not too thrilled that this general and populist had taken what was essentially permanent control. This ensured that they were almost completely cut off from the near unlimited power they had enjoyed if they said the right words to sway public opinion. He would be murdered on the Senate floor in 44 BC by elites who were worried he would bring back the monarchy and that their wealthy families would lose land and prestige, as his new land reforms were largely in favor of the landless classes. The Republic went through major events that could be called civil wars, not counting any of the rebellions, external adversaries, or political rivalries that ended with hundreds dead, before it became the empire. That's over 100 years of political and cultural power struggle. So if we aren't an empire and we're instead nearing the end of the Republic, what would an American empire even look like? For starters, any pretense of playing nice and being a partner is out the window. Allies would be handsomely rewarded and protected, something that is easy to imagine. Any dissenting opinions may be dealt with.
Germany will become totally dependent on Russian energy if it does not immediately change course. Here in the Western Hemisphere, we are committed to maintaining our independence from the encroachment of expansionist foreign powers.
There will be no longer a Nord Stream 2. We will bring an end to it.
But how will you do that exactly, since the project and control of the project is within Germany's control?
We will, I promise you, we'll be able to do it.
Think about the power and control it takes to ensure entire nations, not just smaller territories, would come under the full protection of the United States. Weaker countries would accept their status as vassal states under the technological and military control of the American empire, willingly or by force. Communication and information would be controlled by American-dominated online resources and mass media, including entertainment. Resources would directly benefit the citizens of the homeland, with minor benefits extended to the countries of origin if they were allowed to remain autonomous. People may say this is what's been happening for decades based on military base locations and through the fact that we're already the world's reserve currency. However, we still respect and adhere to national borders and customs at policy level even if the lines do get blurred in reality. What it comes down to is, right now, if there's a mistake that's been made, the political arm of America still explains what it's doing and why it's doing it. An empire wouldn't need to explain itself to anyone. Could it be something we need to watch out for on the horizon? Could our best course of action, our focus, be instead that we guide the next generation of men and women according to our ideals? As a species, I have no doubt humanity will survive. As a culture and people, I would hope that Americans look to our beginnings and see what made this country a powerhouse in the first place. We are met with many forks in the road, and ultimately 2 directions to take with 4 separate outcomes. The first is that the US and the world continue as it has for the last 100 years. The ebb and flow of power and territory will continue to shift, but business will continue as it always has. The opposite side of that is balkanization and the loss of everything that the nation has built up. This outcome is the least possible in my eyes based on history, as our cultural and political elites would lose nearly everything in the process. The next outcome is that the cultural right wins, and counter to that, the left.
The first breath, that cry, that pain from feeling air on its lungs for the first time, that's when it entered the earth.
Ultimately, it's up to us to prepare the next generation, to mentor and set the example, create art and stories that praise the epic triumphs of our heroes. Preparing at an individual level may ensure that we ourselves survive, but we also have a responsibility to ensure that the world we leave our children and our grandchildren is the best possible version that we can. We need to be a nation with an agreed upon culture, outlook, and base of knowledge to prevail over the challenges that separate our people's ideologies. Seasoned travelers know that the average American can't just immigrate to other countries and assume they can carry on with the same attitudes and beliefs. That would create friction that can build into hostility. For most Americans, there is nowhere left to go. Empire or republic, this is home.